Welcome to the EdExpert podcast. So imagine you wake up tomorrow morning, you walk down to your physical retail store, and you discover that the entire building has just been lifted off its foundation.
Right, just completely gone.
Yeah, literally dropped into a dark, foot traffic-free alley like 3 towns over. No warning, no explanation, just completely invisible to the people who were looking for you yesterday.
Which is, it's the ultimate digital whiplash. You spend years building up this steady stream of organic leads, and overnight, that predictable revenue stream is just severed.
Exactly. And that scenario isn't hypothetical at all. In May of 2026, a Google Core update rolled out and effectively did exactly that to thousands of businesses.
Oh, absolutely.
Perfectly functional, highly informative websites plummeted 30, 40, even 50 positions in the search rankings within a matter of days. So today, we are taking a deep dive into the mechanics of that May 2026 update.
Yeah, it's a critical one.
We're breaking down what the algorithm actually changed, why it penalized the sites it did, and most importantly, the strategic playbook for recovering that lost ground.
And we've got some really incredible source material for this deep dive. Our insights today are sourced directly from AdExpert.
Right.
They're an established Los Angeles-based online marketing and web development agency with over a decade of experience navigating this exact kind of volatility for their clients.
And they offer an incredibly useful vantage point because they aren't just, looking at isolated data.
No, not at all.
They handle Google Ads management, local SEO, Shopify development, AI marketing solutions, and precise copywriting across a really wide swath of the LA market.
Yeah, they serve the broader LA area. So we're specifically looking at places like Woodland Hills, Calabasas, Winnetka, Tarzana,
Encino, Sherman Oaks, West Hills.
Right, Reseda, Burbank, and Van Nuys. They are seeing the algorithmic impacts across local service businesses, agencies, and e-commerce platforms alike.
So, if you're listening right now, whether you run an LA agency, manage a local business, or you're just trying to figure out why your website traffic suddenly plummeted by 40 positions overnight, this deep dive is basically your survival guide.
Yeah, because the fundamental rules of search visibility were completely rewritten here.
Right. So to really map out the tectonic shift that happened in May, we kind of have to contextualize it with what happened just 2 months prior.
In March.
Exactly. March 2026 really set the stage, and how Google completely changed the rules of the game.
The March update was essentially a massive algorithmic crackdown on content quality. It was all about what you say.
Right. The what?
Yeah, it targeted thin pages, aggressive keyword stuffing, structural repetition.
Like an aggressive spell checker, basically, scanning for fluff and broken structure.
Yes, exactly. But then the May update rolls around, and it feels categorically different. If March was evaluating the what, May demanded who says it.
The who?
Right. The shift heavily prioritized original first-party information and, most importantly, author credibility.
It's like going from a spell checker to a rigorous background check.
That is the perfect way to look at it.
Wait, I have to push back on this a little bit. So even if the information on my website is like 100% accurate and genuinely helpful to the user, Google might still tank my ranking just because they don't have a verified identity for who wrote it.
Yes, absolutely.
That seems so counterintuitive. From a user perspective, accurate info is accurate info. Right?
In a vacuum, sure. But we live in the era of generative AI now. Accurate-sounding information is no longer a scarce resource. It's a cheap commodity.
Because anyone can just generate it.
Right. Anyone can prompt an AI to spit out a flawless how-to guide. So Google had to find a new signal for actual value. They decided the new premium is verified human knowledge.
Wow.
They want the correct answer, but they want it backed by a real practitioner who basically has real-world liability if they're wrong.
Which explains the sheer panic and the ranking volatility. Our sources noted that LA agencies saw position shifts of 20 to 50 places within days.
Days. Just falling off a cliff.
And there were secondary waves of shifts continuing into late May and early June, right?
Yeah, it wasn't a subtle tweak. It was an earthquake.
So if Google is essentially running background checks now, let's talk about what specific signals trigger an alarm. We need to look at the exact criteria and the specific types of pages that became the biggest losers.
Okay, so we have to unpack the EEAT framework, which got massively reweighted.
That's experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
Right. And the specific losers in this update were incredibly obvious once you know what to look for. First, pages with no author name, or where the bios were just buried in a generic footer.
Like just saying written by admin.
Exactly. Immediate penalty. Second, thin, repurposed competitor content that added zero new information. Google has a content gain algorithm now.
So if you just paraphrase the top 3 results without adding a new angle, you're toast.
Yeah, you're just adding noise. And third, outdated content from 2023 or earlier that lacked a last reviewed or updated on date.
Okay, hold on. Let me question the distinction between experience and expertise in that EEAT acronym.
Sure.
Isn't an expert just someone with experience? Like, why does Google treat these as 2 completely different checkboxes? It feels redundant.
It sounds redundant, but according to the source material, it's a vital distinction. Experience means lived practitioner knowledge.
Like a plumber talking about a specific pipe issue in older Encino homes.
Exactly. They are showing firsthand knowledge of the work. But expertise requires verified credentials.
Ah, okay.
It means named bylines, linked professional profiles like LinkedIn, digital receipts. You can have 20 years of experience, but if Google can't map your identity online, you have zero algorithmic expertise.
That is wild. The algorithm needs the digital footprint, not just the good advice.
Right. It's looking for that paper trail.
Well, we can't talk about content generation today without addressing the absolute elephant in the room, which is artificial intelligence.
Yeah, we have to go there.
How did AI content actually fare in an update that was completely obsessed with human expertise?
Raw AI-generated content without human editing took massive, massive hits.
Even if it was accurate.
Even if it was perfectly accurate. Because it lacked nuance, it lacked a personal voice, and obviously, it completely lacked those authorship signals we just talked about.
But wait, I see an apparent contradiction in the source material here.
Okay, what is it?
Hold on. So AdExpert's own About Us page explicitly advertises innovative AI solutions and AI-powered marketing as a cornerstone of their business.
Yeah, they do.
If Google is aggressively punishing AI content, isn't that a massive contradiction for an SEO agency to be pushing AI?
It looks like one, but it actually highlights how sophisticated agencies use AI versus how spammers use it.
Okay, explain the difference.
AdExpert's specific methodology doesn't use AI to write the final blog post and just hit publish. They leverage AI for customer targeting, advanced analytics, and structuring outlines.
So they use it for the heavy data lifting.
Exactly. But they strictly utilize expert human copywriters for the final execution. The humans handle the data-driven, semantically optimized final content.
Because the humans can provide the EET.
Right. Every paragraph gets human fact-checking, real examples, and attribution to a credentialed author.
And ironically, this whole update actually powers Google's own AI, doesn't it?
Oh, totally. The AI overviews, those generative AI summaries at the very top of the search results, they actually rely on this May update.
Oh, so?
Because the AI overview needs to pull from original citable content to generate its answer. Commodity or rephrased content won't be cited. It needs to cite a named expert.
Wow, so Google is basically forcing the internet to be a better training ground for its own AI.
That is exactly what they are doing.
Okay, so now that we know exactly what broke and why just mashing an AI generate button isn't a magic fix, how did the smart agencies actually recover?
Right, let's get into the solutions.
The focus shifts from the problem to these highly specific and honestly pretty counterintuitive solutions. The comeback playbook.
Step 1 is what we call named expert attribution.
Getting out of the shadows.
Yeah, you have to add real author bylines, LinkedIn links, specific credentials, photos. Even local service businesses need to name their founder on their service pages.
Like you can't just be Valley Roofing, you have to be John Smith, Master Roofer at Valley Roofing.
Exactly. You need an identity.
Okay, step 2 is the one that blows my mind. Content consolidation and pruning.
Yes.
Merging 3 to 5 thin pages into one comprehensive resource, and then 301 redirecting the rest.
It's incredibly effective.
The source mentions a specific example of an LA SEO agency that reduced its entire blog by 40%, but they actually saw organic traffic increase.
Which is amazing. Yeah.
Telling a business owner to delete 40% of their website sounds absolutely terrifying. It's like telling a store owner to throw away half their inventory to make more sales.
It does feel wrong.
How does less content equal more traffic? I don't get it.
You have to think about it as consolidating trust. If you have 5 weak pages about a topic, the algorithm sees low authority across the board. But if you merge the best parts of those 5 pages into one ultimate highly authoritative pillar page, and you redirect the old links to it, you concentrate all that algorithmic power into one extremely strong signal.
So you're trading a bunch of weak signals for one massive beacon of trust.
Exactly. Less inventory, but the inventory you have is premium.
That makes a lot of sense when you put it like that. What's step 3?
Original research. The source highlights this LA home services company that was struggling against national competitors.
How did they beat the massive corporate budgets?
They stopped using stock footage. They outranked the national brand simply by publishing real before and after photo galleries and named client case studies.
Wow, real photos instead of the generic smiling handyman on a ladder.
Right, because Google can read metadata. It knows a stock photo from an original image taken on a phone in Calabasas. The real photo proves lived experience.
That is so clever, and it leads into the final piece of the playbook, which is building topical authority.
Yes, this is crucial.
Creating 10 to 15 interlinked pieces around a really narrow, specific topic, rather than being a broad generalist.
Yeah, you don't just want to be an SEO agency. You want a cluster of interlinked pages specifically about, say, local SEO for professional services in Los Angeles.
So if a listener is brave enough to implement this whole less is more strategy, they prune their site, they name their experts, what is the actual timeline for seeing their traffic return?
It really depends on how hard they got hit. The source breaks down specific recovery timelines.
Let's hear them.
If you just lost 10 to 20 positions, it's usually an attribution issue.
Okay.
Adding author attribution and refreshing dates with new schema usually recovers 30 to 50% of those lost rankings in just 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, wow, that's really fast.
It is. But if you lost 40-plus positions,
And the majors drops.
yeah, that requires the consolidation and rewrites we talked about. That takes 6 to 8 weeks for measurable recovery and 3 to 4 months for a full recovery.
And what if you just vanish, like dropped out of the top 100 completely?
That is a harsh penalty. That requires a complete 4 to 6 month strategy overhaul. You basically have to rebuild the domain's trust from scratch.
So the source provides a weekly action plan for this overhaul. Week 1 is auditing the top 20 affected pages via Google Search Console.
Find out what's bleeding, basically.
Right. Then weeks 2 and 3, you add author attribution and refresh dates.
Get the quick wins.
Then we get to weeks 4 through 6, and I noticed something here. It says to expand content to 2,000 to 2,500 words to cover competitor gaps.
Right.
Wait, we just spent this whole time talking about how less is more, and we shouldn't just publish high volumes of words.
Yeah, it sounds contradictory.
But the week 4 to 6 plan explicitly says to aim for 2,000 to 2,500 words for competitive keywords. Are we just padding word counts again? That feels like the exact fluff Google is penalizing.
I'm really glad you caught that because it's a huge trap. The length absolutely cannot come from fluff or repetitive language.
Then where does it come from?
It has to come from something called information gain.
Information gain, what is that?
It means adding unique subtopics, proprietary data, and case studies that your competitors completely missed.
So you aren't stretching the sentence, you're expanding the scope of the answer.
Exactly. If the top-ranking page covers 5 points, your 2,000-word page needs to cover those 5 points, plus 5 more incredibly nuanced points that only a true expert would know.
Oh, I see.
The length is a byproduct of the depth, not the goal itself.
And then week 7 and beyond is building out those topical authority clusters we mentioned.
Yep, creating that semantic web of trust.
To kind of summarize the core lesson of this May 2026 update, it really feels like the era of volume and keyword stuffing is completely dead.
It is gone.
Human expertise, original insights, and verifiable authority are the actual new currency of the internet.
It's all about trust now.
And the cool thing is, smaller, expert-led local businesses can now successfully outrank massive national brands if they just play their cards right and prove their authenticity.
Because you can't fake experience.
Right. So, if you're listening to this and your site took a hit, remind yourself that recovery is complex and mistakes are costly.
Very costly.
Based on the source material today, you shouldn't just be guessing. You should reach out for a free SEO audit from an experienced agency like AdExpert.
Yeah, let the professionals look under the hood.
They can identify exactly which pages were affected and map out the fastest path to recovery for you.
Absolutely. And, looking at all this source material, there's a final thought here that I just keep coming back to.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
If Google's algorithms are now so ruthlessly prioritizing verifiable human identity and credentials over just mere information accuracy.
Yeah.
Are we rapidly heading toward a future where anonymous publishing on the web basically becomes entirely invisible to search engines?
Wow, if you don't have a verified identity, you just don't exist.
Right. And what does that mean for the balance between, trustworthy commerce and digital privacy?
That is a massive question. If you want to be found, you have to hand over your identity. Definitely something for everyone to mull over. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It was a good one.
We will see you all next time.